that round of applause going for Chris Wright.
How's everyone doing tonight? All right, now I know where my friends are. When I first started doing stand-up, I stuck to really wholesome topics. You know, my loving family or moving to New York. But my boss is in the audience tonight, so I have to really bring my A game. We're talking eating disorders and drugs. How do we feel here about bulimia jokes? All right, enthusiast. Personally, they make me feel sick. Like I'm gonna throw up. I never understood why they call it an eating disorder. There's a very clear order to the operation. I eat anything I want, and then I throw up to stay hot. What's the problem here? The first rule of weight management is counting calories in versus calories out. It's a lot easier to count when they're the same number. It's the anorexics that are the problem. They're not buying food, and now the economy is as skinny as they wish they were. The only good thing about them is I don't have to fight them for eggs at the grocery store. At least the bulimics will run up the restaurant bill so the waiter gets a nice tip. That's why the good restaurants have nice bathrooms. You know, you scratch my uvula, I'll scratch yours. Do you think they're teaching kids in school these days as much about anorexia and bulimia?
No.
I mean, right, they have Ozempic at this point. It's all of the results and none of the thrill of hiding it from your parents. I think the drugs are a little bit cheating, but you know. Do you think that drugs knew that there was a war on drugs? I could name you 15 illegal drugs right now, 3 of which I'm positive are in this room. I could tell you Ronald Reagan's middle name. Really shows you who won that one. We got beat so bad, we decided the only thing left to do was join them. And now there's legal drugs on TV all the time. And they all have the same line. Don't take this if you're allergic to it. How am I supposed to know if I'm allergic to Renexaline if I don't at first try Renexaline? There's no allergen warning on this thing. They cooked it up in a lab. Ugh. And you know, I know that I'm superior to everyone with a peanut allergy. And don't get me started on the lactose intolerant. But what if I'm in the out crowd for this cool TV drug? I mean, the thought makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just kidding. That's my dinner wondering why it's still trapped in there. So we've got drugs on TV all the time. And, you know, at some point in the last 5 years, they changed it to where they have to speak at the same pace the whole time. Tens of auctioneers have lost their job so that we can be certain the awful things that our dry skin cream might do to us. And yeah, the potential side effects can be a little concerning, but it's the kind of upbeat delivery that really freaks me out. Side effects may include sneezing, sniffling, blindness, conjunctivitis, suicidal thoughts, loss of fingernails, loss of fingers, fingernails growing in the wrong place, death, and mild headache. How dry does your skin have to be to risk these things? The worst one I ever heard was a risk of sudden lower limb loss. Let's unpack sudden lower limb loss for a minute, shall we? How sudden are we talking here? Am I gonna go cross the street and all of a sudden, oh shit, shouldn't have chanced that. I'm sorry, it's the medication, I promise. It's gonna leave a mark. Guys, I can't tell you how bad I wish I had a prosthetic leg right now. That would have been so good if I could just drop that on the floor. how does it know what the lower limbs are? How does it differentiate? If I have really long arms, do I have to be worried about them? And if you're well endowed, are you sure that it knows what a leg looks like? Ladies, if you see a guy with dewy skin in one leg, just know he's putting something in the other leg of those jeans. So the drugs are keeping us looking hotter and alive for longer. But eventually, death does come for us all. Got real quiet on that one. We're not comfortable with that yet, are we? So when the inevitable happens, I have a question. After a family member dies, do you take them out of the group chat? You gotta think about that. We're the first generation to have this problem. We're the first people whose grandparents could text well enough to be invited into the group chat. It feels wrong to boot Meemaw out when life just did the same thing. But someone's getting that number eventually. Does that person just become my new Meemaw? And if so, does she know my birthday's next week? When I die, it's going in my will that my savings account be put towards keeping my phone line open as long as possible. Nothing's going to the kids, nothing's going to charity, unless charity's the name of my account manager at AT&T. You can pry my 212 area code out of my cold, dead bank account. Guys, thank you. You've been wonderful.
Chris Wright, everybody.